shirt. Oh my gosh, you can see my brother's bar shirt. So this is going to be continuing from the last video. I'm actually kind of sort of glad I get to restart this because I got stumped a little bit why the 5 and the 7 of swords came out at the base of this reading. Um, so basically this is a 13 card spread based around not loosely, this is a 13 card spread based around the energy of the Emperor. I did the Empress's, the crown spread yesterday, so I'm doing the Trident spread today. I said Excalibur, this is a Trident spread. I wanted to do Excalibur, but I haven't figured out the placements yet. And let me start charging this because I might have to charge my iPad at one point. This shouldn't be too long, but let it not be said that I am not long-winded is the way I live my life. And it honestly surprises some people because I'm the type of person, I'm very like especially if there's a person who like has a lot of information that I want to hear, or someone who I respect a lot. I guess it's not somebody who I respect a lot, but like I'm a listener and a speaker. And so there's one person who I listen to a lot because he's got a lot of perspective. And so I told him that I could be wordy, and he absolutely did not believe me. He was like, "You know, like you never say more than like 3 words." And I was like, "Well, that's because you never give me a chance to talk." um, but anyway, so I'm gonna pull up on my phone what all these different placements mean. I actually want to get back into it, so I made the Fool, the High Priestess, the Magician, the Emperor, the Empress, and the Hierophant. Oh! 1 second. I think I did all those, and I did the Hierophant. I have the Gemini, the Lover's energy, sort of like set up, but I have not. I haven't done it yet. Yes, thank you. I sent an email. I've been getting so many of these. And it's time for me to start, like, stuff is starting to roll in. And I've been stagnant for long enough. I've waited for long enough. And it's not that I've waited, because I feel like part of me has. But the thing about, like, I'm a Pisces, I say that every video, like, at least 15 different times, right? I have to justify my the way I am with the zodiac. I can't just be who I am without needing a star or a planet to explain why, right? But the thing about Hangman energy is that even though it may not move a lot on the outside, it makes leaps and bounds on the inside. Like the Hangman energy is like a hermit energy, but it's like to the next level, right? And so if you look at someone hermiting, it's like the energy of someone who goes about their day-to-day life, just kind of sort of spacey and not really there. And then the Hangman would be like the person who like, it's very, I mean, it's Piscean energy, right? Neptune. So if you think of like stereotypical stoner energy, it's the energy of the person who's just like sitting on the couch, kind of sort of zoned out, but mentally like they're on it. And so when you have like a pretty good mental, spiritual, emotional like landscape, like, because that's the space that you attract from anyway, right? Things just sort of naturally gravitate towards you. And then when you're put in a situation, you know how to react and you know how to like behave, right? I feel like the Hangman is kind of sort of the intersection between the Hermit and the Chariot energy. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch this back when I make it to the Hangman spread. But I feel like it's this intersection between Hermit and the Chariot, because it's like you've done all of the inner work with the Hermit, and once you enter the space with the Chariot, you're able to like really move, because it's like you've already thought of every single step and you've already come up with a plan before you move. It's like a Knight of Swords energy. or King of Swords into the Knight of Swords energy. Um, excuse me. It can be, right? That's one of the sides that people don't necessarily see to the Hymen. I guess I'm saying all of that to say that I do a lot of internal work, and so it doesn't take a lot for things to start moving on the outside, and I catch on to things really quick. I'm a pretty quick miner, so I just need to start taking these people. Somebody emailed me too. I'm like, I ain't even replied to the email. Oh, girl, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get to you. But yeah, it's like every day I wake up to these emails, and some of them are like actually really interesting positions. All right, let's see. So here we are. Okay, so wait, let me go down a little bit. I don't have Excalibur. I wish I had Excalibur. This is the Trident. Did I put the Trident in the title of that video? I don't know. It doesn't matter. This is a new video. I might delete that one. So we're starting here. You don't know what I'm talking about. If I didn't delete it, you know what I'm talking about. If I did delete it, you don't know what I'm talking about. It's fine. So the thing that we're going to be retrieving is the Five of Swords. And the path to retrieve it is going to be the Seven of Swords. And it stuck me for a while because in this deck, the Five of Swords is depicted from the perspective of the bullied instead of the bully. Like a lot of times the Five of Swords is the energy of exerting excessive force to accomplish something that like you don't need it. Five of Swords is the energy of like victory at any means at any cost. And so it's very dismissive of others. And so, but in this deck it's told from the perspective of the bullied. And then it's like bullying and oppression are represented by two figures in the illustration. I guess I could pull it up. Right. This card actually came out in space number 11, I believe, of... Oh, that was really close. It actually came up in space number 11 of the Crown Spread. And so here we see it right here, right? And then it's crossed by the Seven of Swords, and the Seven of Swords depicts this Marine who took the Seven Swords from the sailors back in the boat. And Red Sky and Morning, sailors take warning. So this is also a warning. There's a question of if this Marine took the swords from his own troops or if he took it from an opposing force. And he has a DADT 2011 tattoo. It won't focus, but hold on, wait. Can I do this? Let's see if I can do this. No, I can't do it. Okay. It says DADT 2011 on it. And that's the don't ask, don't tell policy. And so there was a question of, is this coming from him or is it coming from his opposition? It also said that without these swords, the sailors won't even be able to fight any opponents. But if this Marine is discovered, then he's going to have to pay the price. If that is his troop, right? Or even if it isn't. And so I feel like that was sort of bringing to mind if ever we find ourselves in this sort of like constantly losing space, right? Because that is told from the perspective of the oppressed, of the bullied, instead of the oppressor. And so whenever we find ourselves in these constantly losing battles or in these spaces where we just can't proceed and where it seems like the world is conspiring against us, whenever we slip into a victim mentality, that's what this is about. This spread, I guess, because this is the base of the whole spread. And oh, okay. I hope I remember that thought. And so it's like if we put ourselves in these situations where we know that we're not going to win, to affirm and keep ourselves in that sort of victim mentality, that is very self-defeatist, right? And so the way to get out of that is simply by removing ourselves from those situations. And so let's say that you have a toxic friend group and everyone, like you're the butt of everyone's joke, everyone picks on you, you don't get invited to things when they hang out, or if you do get invited, it's like an afterthought. This is just an example of how this energy can play out. Apply it anywhere it fits, if it fits. But it's like you constantly trying to fit in with these people who don't, like, you may not even be in the friend group. And that's why, like, you never get invited to anything, and that's why you're the butt of all the jokes. But, um, my ear just started ringing. But it's a very, like, okay. I'm trying to think. There we go. It's gone. Maybe I should have tried to listen to it. I'm like, you can come back later. Not right now. So it's like you're trying to fit into these spaces that aren't built for you, that aren't meant for you, and then you have this victim mentality on top of that. When it's like, why are you giving so much energy, time, effort, and attention to things that don't serve you and that don't want you? But I feel like, on the other hand, there is a sort of dependence and a reliance on whoever is in this position. And so it is a friend group. It's the kind of sort of toxic friend group. I feel like this is the energy of people who just kind of sort of use you, and then once they get what they want from you, they kind of discard you and throw you away, right? Oof. Well, once they get what they want from you, it's like you fade back into the background. And so with the Seven of Swords, it's like to remove yourself from the situation, regardless of if it's friends or if it's foes, friends or foes. If you're not appreciated, you need to withdraw from the situation. And the fact that they don't have swords right now is that, like, if ever they come into the space where they need you, if they reach out to you, maybe it's for you to not be there. Because I feel like not only are you sort of coming out of that victim mentality, but you're also sort of like no longer giving to spaces where you're not appreciated. I keep looking up there because I was just on live, and then I look over here because I usually have it oriented the other way, but I mean, over here. Gotcha. 2 eyes, 1 camera. And then coming into the space of the Seven of Cups, this is right. So I structured this as something that, like, this is going to be a descent. Oh my gosh, I can see it so much better in this camera, even though that's like really dark. Oh, 1 second. Oof. I know, right? Come on, come on. There we go. Give my eyes some time to adjust. Did that even help? Hold on, wait. There we go. Okay, quit. Hold on, focus. 7 of Cups. And this 7 of Cups this is a daydreamer. I could have read all the entries again. It's fine. I'll read this one again since I just brought it up. Ooh, excuse me. I did not sleep as much as I wanted to. Like, I slept a decent amount, but I wanted more sleep. I was like, oh, I don't want to wake up. I just want to sleep in the day. We're going to the Cups. Going to the 7. Ooh, it's so much closer than I thought it was. Oh, wow. Hold up. Let me take these out. I ain't trying to accidentally be putting any personally identifiable information out on the internet. Let me see my license. Okay, 7 of Cups. Here we go. Wait, I don't even think I read who illustrated this. 7 of Cups, illustrated by Lisa Hunt. 7 of Cups is a card of choices, visions, illusions, and daydreams. My teen daughter, Kyra, posed for this painting and beautifully captured the feeling of the card with her expressive countenance and hands. She looked wistful, hopeful, and yearning at all the cups in the clouds. The 7 of Cups card warns you not to take on too much or have unrealistic expectations. As a dreamer who spent my life making art, I've always gravitated to the 7 of Cups. When I was a child, a teacher told my father she has her head in the clouds. I doodled and daydreamed my way through childhood. During my teenage years, drawing was a coping mechanism. By age 15, I was determined to be a professional artist. Through focused hard work and determination, I took my dream of building an artist's life and made it a reality. I hope this painting inspires you to stay focused, allowing dreams to manifest themselves in productive ways. So, coping mechanism just jumped out to me because, again, this Five of Swords is about bullying and oppression. Specifically, the bullying and oppression faced by trans people of color, trans women of color specifically. Excuse me. This is the Pride. I didn't say that. This is the Pride Tarot. It's a collaborative deck featuring LGBTQ plus illustrators, creators, allies, and artists. And LGBTQ plus and allies, illustrators, creators, artists, stuff like that, right? And so that's why I honor each artist by reading their name with a card and by reading their entry, because there's a lot of history and a lot of, or at least a few of the artists paid homage to some other folks, and so they'll be like, it's a cultural lesson with every flip of the card. Coping mechanism is what jumped out to me. And teenage years, right? And so, excuse me, we may be playing victim in areas that we don't even know, first of all. Or we may be sort of like in this space where there's a certain amount of independence that we have, but also there's a certain amount of reliance that we have on someone else. And I'm getting that through the teenage part, right? Because as a teenager, it's like, if you can work, technically, if you had to, you'd be able to support yourself, right? But also, you still have your parents there. And so it's this transitional sort of period in between you being a child and you becoming an adult. And a lot of times in those teenage years, the relationship that you have with your parents then is going to sort of determine and dictate what your relationship is going to be like later. Because at the tail end of your teenage years, a lot of people sort of like move out, they go to college, they start work. Like, it's like their own life and their own identity really comes into play. And so when you go back and you think about incorporating these authority figures, basically, it's like, okay, is that going to be a harmonious incorporation, or is there going to be like something that limits me in some type of way? And I'm not saying look at your parents or look at your children, but I feel like it may be that type of relationship where it's like with the Five of Swords and then the Seven of Swords, it's like you can't even fully like see yourself outside of the situation. Because with the Seven of Swords is inherently like sneaky and deceptive, right? I'm looking up here like the camera's up there. The Seven of Swords is inherently sneaky and deceptive. And so you pulling away from this situation, how do you still yourself? But it's like you pulling away from the situation is going to leave someone else in a spot that is not necessarily great for them. And it may not be that it's not great for them because like you play this super dire role in their life. It may just simply be it's not that great for them because they've gotten used to the convenience of having you around and they see you as somebody convenient. And you're like, I don't want to just be seen as convenient. I want to actually be appreciated for all that I do, because I do a gosh darn lot. And I get a gosh darn not enough appreciation around here. But something is huge about this victim mentality and this emperor energy coming in to elevate us out of that. Right? Elevate us out of that. I don't know why I'm questioning every word I say. But with the Seven of Cups, it's also about having the courage to like dream of freedom and then to pursue that dream. And I talked about how the Ten of Cups in this deck speaks of impossible dreams. And the dream was impossible for the time that it was dreamt in, But time is a very fluid thing, and we never know when our time is going to come. And that's one reason why it's very important to take hold and keep some of those dreams alive, because you never know when you're going to be in the space to get that opportunity. And there's this Wheel of Fortune energy that just sort of like popped in, right? Because you never know when that opportunity is going to come. And so, like, if you're an entrepreneur, always carry like business cards with you. If you're looking for a job, I guess, and you have like a briefcase, always carry a resume. Update your LinkedIn, because you can have that on your resume on your LinkedIn as well, or like your relevant work experiences, right? There's like little things that you can do to keep this dream alive, to keep hope alive, even though it seems like on all sides you're sort of being torn down in this area. And a lot of times, or not a lot of times, but with there being so many swords on the table, this could also just be like you against you mentally, right? And I believe the Empress, the Eight of Swords came out, and the Eight of Swords came out in the Crown spread yesterday. But this spread is a lot more proactive, supposedly. But your stepping stone, like your guide to retrieving this self-power, to retrieving your power and elevating yourself out of those spaces where you feel powerless, right? Because that's what victim mentality kind of sort of is someone feeling powerless over their lives and over their reality, someone feeling like all of the decisions being made are being made by other people, someone feeling that the things that they want can't be because the desires of everyone else sort of overrides that. But we're supposed to be retrieving the punch behind our desire, our ability to make things happen regardless of what our environment has to say, right? And you may have to fight yourself. Honestly, this is a lot of swords. Swords are thoughts in the minds. You can be in your own head. But the way to get there is to feel it, envision it, dream it, and to want it. You gotta want to be free, right? Because even if you are freed, if you don't want to be free, you're gonna walk around in a mental prison. And that's a choice. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was literally talking about the Ten of Cups is right here. The Ten of Cups. I flipped this over and I didn't even look at it. The impossible dream. Oh my gosh, what is this though? Because this is crossing that Seven of Cups. So if you're thinking, oh, it's impossible, it's never going to happen, then you're right. It's never going to happen for you. And you're just going to be miserable all your life. Even though everything is trying to get you to claim your own power. This is how to conceptualize it. How to conceptualize getting to this place, right? Getting to the point where you are in your power, able to make the changes that you want to make happen in your life. I do not have the energy within me right now to be trying to motivationally speak to you. You need to motivationally be speaking to yourself, honestly. That's the vibe I'm getting from this reading. And it's not just because I don't have the energy to do it, or the desire, honestly. At this point, it's like, you gotta do it yourself. You gotta rescue yourself. Cinderella, Cheetah Girls, look at it. I'm just playing. This Ten of... Ooh, some of these cards are so beautiful and vibrant. Some of these cards are like black and white, and they're still beautiful. The sepia tones are gorgeous. This card speaks of love's ultimate dream of home and family for the rest of your days. It is joy and peace and the hope of the next generation. In the classic Rider-Waite-Smith deck, I've long believed that Pamela Coleman Smith deliberately inserted herself into the Ten of Cups, depicting herself and her female partner living together as a family, with 2 children of their own, under a rainbow. I strongly believe, although we can never know for sure, that what we are seeing in that card is the impossible dream of a happy same-sex marriage, drawn by a queer woman of color, over a century ago. I did not know all of that about the Smith and Rider-Waite-Smith. I wanted this card to be an homage in part to Pamela Coleman Smith and to that impossible dream which has finally become a reality for so many. This scene is intended to be the NYC Pride Parade in 2011, the summer that same-sex marriage was finally legalized in New York. So again, like I said, like having the courage and the strength to dream this impossible dream. Because a lot of times impossible is a matter of time. It's impossible to send a man to the moon. It's impossible to put a popcorn kernel in a box and like 3 minutes later get a bag of popcorn. It's impossible to keep foods without spoiling, right? And then we discover salt, cured meats. Oh my gosh, we can keep food through the winter. Revolutionary. We won't starve, right? Like impossible is impossible. Impossible is just a matter of time. And again, I don't think I mentioned it. Shout out to Impossible, Brandy and Whitney Houston in that Disney Cinderella movie. And they're like, you know, there are daft fools who believe in impossible things, and because there are people who believe in I need to slow down. Because there are people who believe in impossible things happen every day. I'm ain't streaming. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, because there are people who believe in impossible things happen every day. And so I feel like that's saying that, like, one thing that I love about that Seven of Cups is that she doesn't say that it's an illusion. Look, I'm already, like, I was going to do this live, but I'm not doing it live. I mean, I guess I could go back live. No. Already recording. Sorry. And I'm already, like, half an hour in. How am I already half an hour in? I just started. But it's like, I feel like this is saying to, like, have the courage and the strength to believe in these dreams regardless of how possible or impossible they seem, right? To keep fighting for what you truly believe in. And that is one of the major themes of this deck. Overall undercurrents of, you know, a lot of the cards depicted in this deck, because it is the Pride Tarot for LGBTQ plus Pride, right? To believe in possible dreams and to keep fighting and to know that one day those impossible dreams will be a reality, right? Like Pamela Coleman Smith could live that happy life. Well, at least she could marry her partner in all of the states and still be fired in some states the next day, but we ain't going all the way there. But yeah, it's like have the strength to believe in that. And this is interesting. I set these up in sort of like two different ways: a very in-depth way, and then a very like not as in-depth, more surface level way. And so on the not as in-depth spectrum, excuse me, I don't know why I just got so yarny. So cards number 1 and 4, which was the first two, it's grounded in love. Grounded in love is the 5 and the 7 of Swords. And again, that could speak to ways that people limit you, friends, family, loved ones, ways that they limit you because of their own life experiences and because of their own limited beliefs, and because they want the best for you, they're going to try to stop you from doing things that they don't necessarily see as being good for you, right? On one hand. On the other hand, there could be like petty drama and jealousy and stuff like that. They don't want you to do better than them, and that's a toxic friend group. Regardless, though, it's like you need to see what you want for yourself, and you need to hold that dream and hold that vision, right? Because it's like with the 7 of Cups, she said that her teacher told her father that she had her clouds in the head. Her clouds in the head. She had her heads in the clouds. Her head in the clouds. As if it were a bad thing. But look at her. She's living her artist life. And a lot of people typically, it's like there have been a lot of famous artists who have achieved success after their lifetime, right? And so there's this energy of like this inherent compromise. Well, if you pursue that, just prepare to be broke and prepare to be miserable and prepare to be working jobs that you hate. And it's like, no, no, I'm going to be beyond happy doing something that I love and expressing myself artistically, but also being able to live comfortably doing it. Like, I'm going to believe in that dream instead of believing in the whatever crap mess you got me trying to believe in, talking me out of my dreams. No, I don't think so. Dreams is a heavy, heavy, heavy focus right here. And in direct opposition to the reality that other people would try to sell you. Right? And this is why you're taking back your manifested power. This is why you're coming into your own power despite what history and other people have to tell you about pursuing whatever it is that you are pursuing. It's like, pursue it anyway. Okay. Let me speed this up a little bit. And then 2 and 3 was the blend of masculine and feminine energies. And they blend in this dream space, which is really cool. Because I feel like in a dream, there's this element, the feminine element of unlimited, unbridled creativity. Like literally anything can happen in the dream space. But then there's also this masculine element where the dreams are self-contained. Right? And it's bringing that scene from Inception to mind when Leonardo DiCaprio, I was like, what's his name? Took Ariadne into the thing and they needed an architect, right? And he was like, do you remember how you got here? It's like, no. Like whenever we dream, a lot of times when we dream, it's like we start in the middle of a story. We don't remember how we got there. We don't remember how it started. But all of the elements are there and the story plays out, and then we wake up and we're somewhere else, right? It's self-contained. It has its own sort of inherent structure within it. And they meet in that dream space. Okay, now we're moving forward. So, the sort of like the ground to stand on, where to plant your feet when you're making this stand, is the 3 of Cups. I'm going to read this 3 of Cups. So many cups. We didn't have nary a single cup, not a single cup popped up in the Empress spread yesterday. And we've already got 3 cups here. I told y'all the Empress and Emperor may be switching sides. We got a lot of Gemini activity about to go down. North Node, Venus retrograde, then it'll be Gemini season after Taurus season. Mercury gonna be in Gemini. The 3 of Cups, illustrated by Holly Sierra. The 3 of Cups card heralds glad tidings in the tarot reading. I love this card's message. In general, it generally portrays 3 friends gathered together, celebrating, supporting, and inspiring one another. I immediately thought of gay pride parades as a way to depict this merriment. Folks look to one another with appreciation, excitement, honor, and respect, and are bound by their emotional connections as they march. There is a sense of admiring and celebrating each other and their unique contributions to the group. In my painting, the man in front runs ahead holding 7 rainbow-colored banners that highlight the pride theme. The couple featured in the center of the 3 chalices is representative of all human love. In a semicircle around the couple is an array of multicolored feathers signifying that the LGBTQ+ community's dreams are taking flight in all directions toward manifestation. Dreams! This is... Why did Dream Girls just pop into my mind? This is all about dreams. And they're manifesting in all directions. This is a celebration. I love how she said that, like, we're honoring and respecting each other. So this is directly opposite to that 5 of Cups, or that 5 of Swords energy. So it's like, first of all, find places where you are accepted, appreciated, respected, and celebrated, right? And those are the spaces that you start building in. Because sometimes, like, it takes other people to love and accept us for us to fully begin to love and accept ourselves. But that true love and acceptance from others comes when we are truly embodying who we are ourselves, right? And it's like that's where you start. Because once you find that truer love and acceptance and validation for who you are, you can then begin to look at other things in your environment. And maybe this is like a sort of past to present to then future sort of like energy, like this little self-contained flow right here, right? It's like maybe you were dreaming, daydreaming, right? Not even maybe full, not even maybe full on dreaming, right? It's like you're in this situation, you're in this space where things aren't great, and you're just like, I wonder what it would be like if I didn't have to deal with this. And it's like you daydream enough. It's like you're putting pennies in the piggy bank. You get enough pennies in the piggy bank, and they change into nickels and dimes, and then nickels and dimes turn into quarters and dollars, and then dollars turn into, hundreds, right? I don't know how long you've been putting these pennies in the piggy bank, but the change adds up, and it causes change, right? And so then you find these pockets, maybe a person, maybe a few people, where you can be yourself, where you can express certain things in different ways, and you can learn to accept that love. And then not only do you begin to look at how other people treat you, you also begin to look at how you treat yourself. And so that's why that is the stepping stone to recognizing these spaces in which your voice isn't heard, and which you are probably taken advantage of, and then knowing that, okay, it's time to remove myself from these situations and these spaces, right? This is so interesting that this is coming out in the Emperor spread, because what was the Empress's spread? There were so many swords in that spread. It was her being in her own head. I don't know. And that's a 5-hour video. So, I mean, I timestamped where it starts in the comments. I'm going to timestamp where it ends. Not the whole 5 hours is that. But maybe I should do like a little recap. Ooh, maybe I should start adding recaps at the end of these. That would be nice. And then if like you like the recap, you can go back and watch the full reading. Oh my gosh, I should do that, right? We'll see if I do or no. Or I could just keep moving. That's another thing I can do. Let's do that. So next card, number 5. No, number 6. Who's that flying through the sky? Number 6. Excuse me. No. I pulled the 10th space and read it as 5. So now I don't know if I should swap 5 and 10. What is 10? Okay. Leave it as it is. But what does leave it as it is mean? Does leave it as it is mean move this to 5 and then move 10? Or then move 5 to 10? Or does leave it as it is mean leave this in 10? So the space of 10 is what all of this is going to create. So all of this is going to create a community and create a space where you can be celebrated and create a space where you can celebrate other people, right? Because when everyone is sort of operating in their own authenticity, then it's like we move into a brighter space overall. So leave it as it is going to be, if you can find If you have those places and those spaces within your life where you find acceptance, like I said, it may be one person, it may be a few people, right? And so that may be the space to start, and then know that as you continue to love and accept yourself, you will continue to attract people who will love and respect you. You will continue to distance yourself from people who don't love and respect you. And then you'll find yourself in a greater community of love and respect. Right? So now let's look at the real 5. Oof. Oh, well, the real 5 is the King of Wands. And the real 6 is the 3 of Pentacles. So this may be one person. This may be one person who you can be completely 100% your full authentic self with. And I feel like this isn't just like, because just being your full authentic self is being like, that's the Queen of Wands energy. But it's like with this King of Wands, it's like, not only can you be yourself, but I don't know, there's like this mutual energy here. It's like you inspire each other to be your full authentic self. And so with this King of Wands, it's like you're creating and maintaining that space, protecting it. That space may be sacred to you. And then that kind of sort of, that makes sense going into the 3 of Cups, where you're like, you're incorporating the whole parade. But with this King of Wands here, I think that's like one person. 1 or 2. It's a few. It's a few. It's a few. 5 and 6 are the masculine aspects of this. And again, 2 and 3 is where they blend. 5 and 6 are the masculine aspects. Masculine aspect number 1. King of Swords. Wands. Why do I keep mixing up the suits? King of Wands. You know what would be really cool if anyone who works at Apple watches this video? If I could like set certain display themes to like certain apps, right? Like if I'm in my iBooks like theme, I'm going to want to invert the colors all the time. You can't do that with PDFs. Like with books, I believe you can like change the font and the background and stuff, but with the PDF, I guess it makes sense for a PDF because a PDF is just a file, right? Like a book is actually, it's like a book with all that stuff. It's a minor inconvenience, it's fine. It would be cool though if I didn't have to keep inverting and uninverting the colors. But hey, maybe I won't have to for long. Maybe my eyes will miraculously heal because I am a foolish person who believes in foolish things. And because I believe in foolish things, miraculous things will happen in my life. Miraculous things have kind of sort of already happened in my life, and I'm like, whoa, like really? And it's like, yeah, like really? And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't think you'd actually be here, so I didn't get ready. And then they're like, what? And then they're like, yeah, I didn't think you would actually arrive. And so I wasn't ready. And they're like, okay, whew, that's a relief because I wasn't really ready either. I just like came to pick up some noodles, some eggs, and, you know, a new blanket. And this chance encounter happened. And now, you know, I got to go back and clean up the apartment before I invite anybody over. Got to close up a few loose ends, close some accounts. I don't know what closing accounts is about, but you know what I mean? This is still going to be a 2-hour video. That's crazy. I mean, this is a 13-card spread, and the energies are designed to be a little dense, so it makes sense. It's designed to be dense, so it makes sense. Time is an illusion anyway. This is illustrated by Marco... Ooh, girl. Illustrated by Marco Prieto. It's on the bottom. Are both names on here? No, only Marco's name is on here. So illustrated by Marco Prieto, and description is by Arwen Lynch. Keywords are resilient, patient, and successful. Emphasis on the patience and the resilience. That's the King of Wands. This king is a oh gosh, I am not reading that word. Oh goodness, I can't do it. This king. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm gagged. Gagged with a capital T. Okay. This king is a butch leather lesbian. I'm gonna say lesbian. I'm not saying the D word. This king is a butch leather lesbian. She so she she shows off her success with a good cigar while riding her top of the line motorcycle. She knows how to wait, how to plan, and how to budget. How to budget, speaking of piggy banks. She knows how to wait, plan, and budget. Others may see her as quiet because she doesn't speak much. They should listen more. When she offers advice, it is best to take it. Let your focus be on planning your own future. Set your financial goals and start working your plan. Reversed, this king is domineering, overbearing, and pushes your boundaries just to get a reaction. Best to make space between the two of you. Your best plan is to try to avoid the notice of this ill-favored ruler. Business plans need to be looked at very closely before you proceed. Someone could be in your way intentionally. So again, that kind of sort of calls to mind because I'm gonna keep all of these upright because I'm not putting a pride deck in reverse. Like too many people we've come too far and made too many strides, and too many people have laid their lives on the line. I'm not putting it in reverse. Now, if a card wants to flip out in reverse, sometimes I gotta interpret it that way because it's a journey, and sometimes on the way forward we make some steps back, and we take a few steps back because we need to make sure that everyone is with us as we're progressing forward, right? It's the LGBTQ plus community, not the G community or the LG community, right? That's why we keep expanding. It's like we expand the acronym, but then we still forget the people over there who we're supposedly fighting with. But it's like, oh yeah, your rights come second. Like, let's get the gay stuff out of the way, the gay and the lesbian stuff, and then we'll come for trans rights and, everybody else's rights. But then it's like once there's this energy of like, whenever there's a coalition of different people who come together to fight a common enemy or to proclaim to fight for equality, it's like once a certain faction of people get what they came for, then they kind of sort of drop out of the fight, and then they leave other people to fight for themselves. And those are the people who sometimes those are the people who really kickstart the whole thing. And then it's like, okay, but now you're gonna forget me. Okay, it's cool, it's whatever. But yeah, with this is one of the few cards that gives an upright and a reverse, because again, the meanings and the illustrations come from lots of different people. So this is someone who has a quiet power. I feel like this is someone who is fiercely themselves, but they don't necessarily it's like she is so her that she doesn't have to fight you to be who she is, right? Like there's an energy of like she would walk in with, I don't know, she would walk into a store where it says no pets allowed, and somebody who isn't even an employee of that store, somebody would come up to her and be like, the sign says no pets allowed, and she'd do that, hit them with that, and then keep about her business because she ain't got time to talk to fools about who she can and can't be. And it's like the reason why nobody in the store is sort of getting on her case is because her pet is a service animal. Not necessarily saying she has a service animal, but it's very that vibe of somebody who couldn't mind their own business, who's trying to stir trouble, cause trouble in areas where it's it's permitted. Hello, who are you? Who are you? She's not saying who are you, but when she gives that look, and then she goes about her business, and she's like, okay, and number one, who are you? And number two, why should I care? And number three, I'm going to keep being me. So But then maybe like you came in contact with this person and maybe things went a little sour, right? I was going about the whole story about how like chance, oh, we're in another store. Chance encounters at a store, right? Where you just go for a few eggs and some toast, some bread to make toast. Oh, I want some French toast now. I'm gonna make French toast after this. um, but maybe things went a little sour, right? Maybe because it's like when you find this space of acceptance for the first time, maybe it's like part of you is trying to, it's like you get into this space where you want to see how much you can get away with, right? It's like, if I do this, will you still accept me? If I do that, will you still accept me? And like you could be acting and behaving in ways that you aren't even, but you just want to know if this person will still like support you and be there. And they're like, you know what? I can see that it's getting to the point where this is a bunch of foolishness. And while I do respect and honor you being who you are, I also have to respect and honor myself and being who I am and knowing what I'm worthy of. And I'm a gosh darn queen. The emperor is a woman and the king is a woman. I love the energy of this day. God is a woman. Ariana Grande said it best. Let me stop. So this King of Wands is sitting in the space of the ground to stand on, right? You start to get the love and acceptance and the recognition and the honor from one person, and then that gives you, spoiler alert, going to the 10, you can then create a community sort of based around that where everyone can experience that, right? And this may be kind of sort of just like masculine energy in general. Maybe we're going to be shifting to these institutions and shifting into laws and shifting into laws, where we focus more on the people who have been marginalized and forgotten, right? Especially like, so here, when it comes to like the way we do healthcare, wherein a lot of healthcare is associated with the job that you work, right? And like now that there are a lot of people out of work, maybe it's time we expand healthcare. And while we're expanding healthcare, we're going to be covering those people who the past systems didn't benefit in the first place. But it took, theoretically, it could have taken for so many people to be unemployed and filing for unemployment, and so many people to be losing their health care, and so many people to be in this space where they can't necessarily afford like expensive testing and expensive this and expensive that. It's going to take all of that to get us to come to this space where we move that from an individual basis to more of a community thing, right? And then card number 6 is the Three of Pentacles. Again, card number 6, Three of Pentacles. Both of these cards represent the masculine influence, right? The masculine influence of I am who I am and I ain't gonna change. You ain't gonna change me. Oh, wait, whoa. Oh, because my phone is charging. I was like, why is low power mode off? I'm going to plug in my iPad really quick, so don't mind me. Just, making sure that this doesn't die. Why am I looking up there? I saw something on Twitter that said people with Aries placements. Somebody was like, I knew that astrology was real when I saw that people with Aries placements got big heads and foreheads. I was like, is my forehead? I'm sorry. Hold up, wait. I need to fix this. I need to rectify the situation. There we go. Does that make my forehead look smaller if I do this? I'm being a little silly. Okay, there's my silly energy. I'm going to be a little silly. I'm going to be slipping into my Sagittarius North Node as I try to tap on some kind of truth. So I may get a little bit silly, but that's fine. I'm a Sag North Node. That means I'm supposed to want to have fun. Card number 6 is the feeling to hold. Ooh, excuse me. This is the feeling to hold in your hearts. As you're dreaming these dreams, this is what's gonna give you strength, right? This is what you're striving for. Hey Siri, invert colors.
Okay,
Thank you. Invert colors. Siri! Oh my gosh. Did you turn on smart invert or regular invert? Siri turned on smart invert. Oof, no. For those of you who don't know, smart invert will invert not pictures, but everything else. And so it's great when you have text and pictures, but it counts PDFs as pictures, so it doesn't help me. So, going to the Three of Pennies. The Three of Spinnies, them pennies. Three of Pentacles, illustrated and described, I guess, by Joanna Powell Colbert. Or Colbert? No, Colbert. The Three of Pentacles is about collaboration, teamwork, and coming together with others to create something that benefits the greater community. An elderly woman offers free grandma hugs. Oh my gosh, I want a free grandma hug right now. I need to go see my grandma. At a pride parade to any young person who has been rejected by their own family because of their sexual orientation. Other friends and family members also carry signs of love and support. The entire parade is a community of collaboration that proclaims to the world that LGBTQ plus youth are loved, celebrated, and supported just as they are. I chose to interpret the Three of Pentacles in this way after being moved to tears at our local pride parade, watching so many young people being embraced by surrogate mothers, fathers, and grandparents. Oof. And another thing that is very interesting is that this is a very large spread, and I don't have the space on my one little table that y'all have seen on this channel. And so I'm actually using the table next to it. And so the hilt of this trident is actually on the wooden table, and everything else is up here where I usually am, right? And so at the very foundation of this, the cards on this side of it, where everything else is over there, that's where we're coming in with this acceptance, and that's where we're coming in with this foundation. This is all about finding true love and acceptance, and withdrawing your energies from places where it is not, that don't reflect that true love, right? And the transition, the step into that was these daydreams and these dreams of finally being accepted, finally not having to hide, being able to breathe, right? And then the ground that you can stand on is this King of Wands, someone who is authentically them and allows you to be authentically you. And the feeling to hold is the building of a community around that energy, right? And it's also to know that it is unfortunate if you have a parent or a family who is unsupportive, or even if you have friends, longtime friends who aren't supportive, but to also know that you can get that love elsewhere. You know what I mean? And to accept that love elsewhere. Girl, do you? I'm sorry. That didn't just happen. I'm just gonna keep flipping this. So in space number 7, this is how it serves or protects. Oof. What is this? Who is you? The Nine of Pentacles. Okay. We go from the Three of Pentacles to the Nine of Pentacles. We have, what, 3 water cards? The 7, the 10, and the 3 of Cups. The 3 and the 10 of Pentacles. 2 swords, and then 1 wands. 1 wand. Like, this is such a balance of energy that was just not present in the crown spread yesterday. So I don't know what that's about. But I think that's also because the divine masculine energy is coming into the space of being reworked and overhauled in general. And so that energy is being reworked on people on an individual level, where we're looking at our community. That's what the community maybe was a big thing with the Empress spread. I don't remember. But with the laws, right, and with us coming into the space to really address and change it, like, that's what a lot of that Pluto and Saturn and Capricorn was going to be giving us sort of like an access point to, is changing foundational institutional structures, right? And so now it's like, it makes sense that we have all of these feminine elements coming in, because I feel like the way to really, like, this requires a woman's touch, right? even if this is masculine energy or the masculine side and aspect of energy, structure, organization, and foundation, even if that's the case, it still requires input from the other side in order for there to be a harmony and a balance in between. And it's going to be an injection of heart, potentially, like we have this opportunity, right? And so it makes sense that this is here. And I guess at the same breath, it makes sense that with the crown spread, there was a heavy masculine influence, because it's like divine feminine is kind of sort of doing work trying to help divine masculine. And it's almost like it's pulling on her in ways that's making her come into more of that, right? It's like there's a board meeting, and we need a lot more feminine than masculine at the table now, because masculine has been heavy for a while, and this is the space that we found ourselves in as a global collective. I don't know. Let me stop. Whew, that's not funny. How it serves or protects is the Nine of Pentacles. Let's see what they have to say about the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is illustrated by Ryan Edward. The Nine of Pentacles shows a person of refinement who has reached a stage when she can enjoy the finer things in life. She is independent and self-reliant. She is living her fullest life in her truest form. The spotlight is on her. No shade here. Yes, yes. Okay, I'm sorry. The spotlight is on her. I love Ryan Edwards. Ryan Edwards, sorry, no S. The spotlight is on her. No shade here. She may be the 9 of the suit, but she is 10, 10, 10s across the board. She is feeling her best self, serving abundance. Stand aside. This is hers. Yes. And it says yes. For those of y'all who don't believe me, is it right there? Y'all can't even see it. You can't even see it. Hold on. I'm going to blow it up so y'all can really see. Y'all see that? Yes. 10, 10, 10s across the board. She is serving abundance. She is serving self-love, self-acceptance, self-worth, immaculateness, opulence. She's giving the children everything that they could ever hope and dream and wish for. Anything you can ever want, Hinty. She is giving it to you. Yes. And this is how it serves and how it protects. By empowering everybody. By putting everyone in this space to, really do and get. And this is the masculine influence. We're going to be moving into the feminine influence, but the crown of the feminine influence is that 10 of Cups within this spread. 10 of Cups. The crown of the feminine influence is that 3 of Cups in this spread, right? I love that. It serves the individual and the collective. And that's what I feel like good institutions or institution and law done right should do. Like, not only should it serve and benefit individuals, but it should also serve and benefit everyone. And I think that's where we struggle. That's where we struggle. I feel like when a lot of people go to the polls, they sort of like, they go with their best interest in mind. Who is going to further me? Who's going to put me in the best spot at the end of this, right? And then it's like, if you vote too selfishly, and this isn't a this side, that side, right? This is just in general, like, if you do things too selfishly, you're banking on a stability that you don't even know if you're going to have. Because what's going on in the world right now came in and it put a lot of people out of work. A lot of people who probably thought they had security are now finding themselves without it. And again, it shouldn't be a us versus them. It should be a us and them, right? And maybe we're giving the opportunity to move forward in the future in a way where, again, it's like we incorporate more people. Because it ain't all just about you and what's good for you, right? It's about what's good for you and what's good for all. Like, we should all be eating fruits and vegetables. I don't know why fruits and vegetables came to mind, but we should all be eating them. We should all be able to have access to good food and clean water. You know what I mean? Internet. So, what is 7? 7 is the sight. 10 is the truth. Oof. 7 is the sight. The sight is the vision. 10 is the truth. The truth is the truth. That's T, sis. That's the T. The T is 3 of cups. Celebration for all, recognition of all. And I feel like us coming into this, the nodes are going to be transiting from south in Capricorn, north in Cancer, to south in Sagittarius, north in Gemini. And I feel like that south in Sag, north in Gem is going to be getting us to transfer from versus energy to an and energy. Instead of this versus that, it's going to be this and that. And having that backbone in Sagittarius is going to give us the perspective to then be able to look at individuals as individuals and to not need to lump everybody together, right? And that's where we go from an and instead of a versus, right? It's like, personally, the whole rhetoric of like, oh, we have more in common than we have like differences. We're all human. We all breathe and we all eat. And like, I get it, but at the end of the day, it's like I shouldn't have to be just like you in order for you to respect me. And when you champion causes with that mindset, that's why it's taken us so long as a collective to reach these spaces where we can accept and love everybody as they are, right? Imagine if people would have went just as hard as like, we're not the same and that's okay. I can respect you and your differences and you can respect me and my differences. And then it's like we can get everybody at once. Like, oh, here's somebody that I've never seen before, but you know, we're different and I can accept and respect our differences. Hi. Here's somebody else from a different group than that person. We're different. We can accept and love each other. Hi. Instead of, oh, you're like me now? Okay, so since you're like me, you can get some rights, but that person's still not like me. Like, oh, that person is like me? Okay, you're like me, you can get some rights, but that person isn't like me, and those people aren't like me, and those folks over there, for gosh darn sure, are nothing like me, so they'll never get rights. And it's like, really? The itsy bitsy spider, the ants go marching 1 by 1 and 2 by 2 and 3 by 3. Why are we sending ants to do something that like a person could do in like literally like 2 seconds? But we're gonna send millions and billions and trillions of ants over decades and centuries and millennia to do what like we could literally do in 2 seconds if we took a, I don't know, halfway decent approach. It's fine. It's fine. We're not going to talk about it anymore. So, number 8 and 9. 8 is the image to conjure. 9 is the way to express it. So, this is 8. This is 9. Let me make sure I got the right ones. No. Ooh, I would have did that wrong. This is 8. This is why I need to keep a friend. Ooh. Oh. We got the Holy Grail card. We got the Rainbow card. We got the Pride card. It's life, healing, sunlight, nature, serenity, and spirit. I left this card and the title card in the deck. Now I want to see what 9 is. Okay, well 9 is the 7 of Pentacles, more earth energy. Love that. So this card doesn't have an entry. But this card is the full spectrum. This card is the full rainbow, right? And this is the image to conjure. Complete and total acceptance of everything, right? Every color is represented here, and every color is given a separate meaning, and each meaning is important, each meaning is respectable, and it's important to keep these colors separate because it's like they all kind of sort of meet down here in this violet anyway, right? Because it's the spirit. Everything comes from spirit. Everything is of spirit. Just manifest at different levels, right? And so like this is the breakdown of that white light. You know, you break down the white light to see the different colors, and then because we break down these colors, like we have vibrancy in our world, right? Everything isn't just like white or black. It's not like light or no light. Like, no, it's a spectrum. There are different wavelengths, and it comes together to make something beautiful. This is what to hold in our mind. Our differences are what we should actually be celebrating, because it's in our differences that we move forward as a society. If we all thought the exact same way, all did the exact same thing, like, chances are we'd come upon moments where we get stuck, right? I don't know if there's one person who can solve all of their problems, one person who can invent every single thing in the world, one person who has the mental capacity to be a master of everything and to bring a fully 100% informed opinion to the table on every single situation, but also who has the expertise and the knowledge in every single situation, right? That's why differences exist, so we can get multiple different perspectives. Because if we look at everything the same way, it's going to take us much longer to get to where we're going, right? Number one. And then it's like, I don't know, if you never question anything, would anything ever be improved, or would anything ever be better, right? There's always this energy of an older generation speaking of a younger generation is, oh, like, back in my day we did this and we did that and we didn't have this and we didn't have that. Imagine if everybody was like, back in my day we didn't have stone and chisel, right? We didn't have papyrus and ink. All of our stories were passed down by mouth. Then it's like, okay, well, those stories change over the years, right? Back in my day, we didn't have no internet. Or before you even get to the internet, back in my day, we didn't have books. It's like, okay, we don't get books, we don't get libraries, we don't then digitize things, we don't get the internet, we don't get information. If you don't have that one person who knows in your area, well, you're just gosh darn out of luck, because no one is gonna take that first step forward. This is what, to the image to conjure in your mind, is just the world where everyone is loved and accepted as they are, where we can have such an appreciation for the oneness that we all share, that we don't need to reduce everybody to that oneness to find an appreciation for them, where we can allow them to be who they are in their unique individual experience and perspective, and not have to boil them down and reduce them to oneness. You're just like me, you're just like me, you're just like me, you're just like me. Oh, but they're not, and he's not, and she's not, and whatever that was back there, they'll never be like me. I don't even think that was human. Like, really? Really? For real? And then we got this card over here. What's this, the Seven of Pentacles? Yes, the Seven of Pentacles is in the space of the way to express this thing that we're conjuring, and the way to express this thing coming to mind. This is not the energy I expected with the spread. This is both collective and individual. So much earth coming out now. The Seven of Pentacles is usually associated with the period of resting after hard work, awaiting the fruits of one's labors. It is a productive rest where one allows the body to recuperate while waiting for one's efforts to germinate and begin to bear fruit. In this image, it is also about meditating about what one has done and what one might be able to accomplish in the future. The colors of the rainbow in the image also hint at diversity and choices about what paths one might take after the resting period is over. The rainbow also symbolizes a bridge connecting the realm of humankind, physical, to the realm of the gods, spiritual. The image depicts a bald, androgynous figure in a monastic robe sitting under a tree bearing 7 fruits, symbolizing 7 chakras, 7 colors of the rainbow, the path of 7 planets, and the 7th day of rest after creation. Ooh! Where there's only 6 colors on this rainbow. The 7th color is that white light, is that unity, right? That rest. It's the border around everything. And this is the diffraction within. Love how I did that. Like how I did that. I did the rainbow spread. I uploaded that. I think that was the daily upload number 11, was that rainbow spread. But yeah, there you have it. There you have it. This is the way to express it, right? It's like, we've done... There's a certain element of meditation that needs to come into be, right? And that meditation sort of being like opening ourselves up to all that is, and where we want to go. Honestly, it's just like opening ourselves up to what is universal love that pours across that rainbow bridge, right? And what does it mean to truly love someone unconditionally? Unconditionally. Regardless of how different you are, regardless of when you're in alignment or out of alignment, regardless of when they're working your nerve or when they're right beside you or when they're across the country not talking to you, or when you're in peace and together. It's the very foundational thing that is never changed, that is unchanging. The only thing in creation that does not change is the love that the Creator has for each and every individual expression of itself in that creation. That's the only thing that remains static. Everything else is dynamic and subject to change. So plant those loving seeds and watch them grow. Plant the seeds and watch them grow. I think the way to express it is to be that. And to, again, right, that's how we come down to this 10, which is the next space, which was that community, right? We get to that community by being that in other people's lives. And again, it's like even showing a little bit of love and kindness to the folks that don't necessarily give us that same love and kindness, who aren't necessarily as accepting as we are or as you are, but it's giving them the space to be who they are as well, right? But hopefully, we also go to the space where that is a minority in the energy collective field. And so on the whole, we're in a much brighter space. And then there are some people on the outside who are, back in my day, I can be as bigoted as I wanted to be and nobody would bat an eyelash and folks would laugh. It's like, okay, well, back in your day, certain people weren't seen as people. I'd rather be where we are now. And honestly, I'd rather be where we're going than back in your day, right? Back in your day, I don't know. We didn't have iPads and phones and computers and the internet. Things change. Get with the program, or we'll just wait for you to expire, and then we will move forward without you. Or you ain't even got to expire. You can live in the fringe on the outside if you want to. Isolate yourself. Go into self-isolation. Take all of that nasty bitterness and just keep it out of the, So yeah, that is what that creates. That is what the 8 and the 9 create. It's us envisioning what it is for complete acceptance to be a thing. Us planting seeds of love and acceptance. Like, that's what it leads to. These communities, these bigger bubbles where it's like 1 or 2 over here and 3 to 5 over there, and like where we all come together and then expand that impact outward. Right? So now, number 11, the purpose of this power. The purpose behind this is... Ooh, that's dark. What's that say? The 5 of Pentacles? The purpose is the 5 of Pentacles? To isolate those things that need to be isolated so that they can then be cleansed and purged out? Maybe, we'll see. There is so much earth energy in this, y'all. So much earth energy. I'm loving it. So much earth and water in this. Maybe this is the influence of the feminine, the Empress. The Empress's influence on the Emperor. Going from pinnacle to pinnacle to pinnacle. So, 5 of Pentacles. This is illustrated by Miriam E.G. The 5 of Pentacles is a card of financial loss and poverty. It also represents the feelings of being isolated and alone, rejected, or hopeless. It could mean that you need to ask for help from the people who are there to support you. In this illustration, a girl is rejected by her family and is being kicked out of her home. This card reminds me of something that happened recently to a close friend of mine from a very conservative family who often voiced their homophobic views. Eventually, she came out of the closet and had to leave home. I told her that she could come to my house whenever she needs. I'm available for my friend through the good and the bad times. Don't be afraid to ask a friend for help or to offer help to someone in need. And what was that the space of? I forgot already. I'm sorry, y'all. This is why I started creating these spreads, because I would forget why I was pulling cards and I wanted to remember. That's the purpose of this power. Okay. So I think so the purpose of this is to put us in a space where we can begin to eliminate those feelings of loneliness and isolation, especially when it comes to areas of unharmful authentic identity, right? And also it did mention this that this card typically signifies financial loss. So maybe there's also a financial restructuring that's going to be going on. And that financial restructuring is just going to be changing the relationship that we have with money and changing the way that we perceive value. That's what this is all about. Changing the way we perceive value. Value in an individual, value in diversity, value in conformity, value in the way financial institutions are structured and organized, and how that sort of benefits certain people and keeps other people at a disadvantage, and honestly the complacency in the middle. And that's Taurian energy. The Five of Pentacles is the first decan of Taurus. That's right now. Oh, that's right now. So if I was doing a Taurus, first decan of Taurus reading, this would be it. It's crowning everything that we're going in now. Uranus is in the first decan of Taurus. The Sun is in the first decan of Taurus. The Moon is in the first decan of Taurus. The Moon may actually be new right now. I know it was really, really close earlier. Like really, 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 really close, y'all. Yeah, the Moon is new right now. It is 14 minutes from conjuncting the Sun. Y'all see that? The Moon is 3-9. What is that? Yeah, the Moon is 3-9 and the Sun is 3-23. And then that's Uranus right below it, chilling at 6 degrees. And so this is going to be a Moon, Sun, Uranus conjunction. Ooh, goodness. Oh, goodness. The Moon, the Sun, and Uranus. Uranus, I'm telling you, it's shaking some stuff up on the background, in the behind the scenes. On the behind the scenes. That's the way we act. That's the way we react. That is the light and the dark. They're both sitting there right next to Uranus. And maybe that's why it's like shadows are getting exposed and light is getting exposed, and we're coming into this opportunity before all of this Gemini energy really comes in. We're coming into this opportunity to sort of see both sides of the situation in Taurus, which is fixed. It speaks to long-standing foundations, right? Capricorn is Capricorn rules government and stuff like that. But, I feel like those institutions kind of sort of spread out into Taurian energy whenever they become very fixed, and they become the sort of foundation. And so we just had all of these conjunctions on Capricorn where Pluto was helping us like break some of that stuff up so we can dissect it. And now with Uranus chilling in Taurus, with the Sun and the Moon like sitting on top of it, about to pass over it, it's like maybe it's time for you might begin to see some things change, hopefully. I don't know what that's about, sorry. Oh, my cousin's birthday is tomorrow. And then my little brother's birthday is in 6 days. I've been seeing him quite a bit lately. I was like, what was I doing? I don't remember. I lost my train of thought because I was talking about the moon. The moon. I used to be able to move because my dad worked at a cow station. My dad worked at a radio station that had some cows around it. And they'd just be like, moo. 12 and 13, how to focus and how to fire. This is all about creating that change. Oh, I think that's 12. I'm pretty sure that's 12. Let me see. 12 is the focus. 13 is the fire. Maybe. See, I can't do that though. Because you got to focus before you fire. I was like, well, maybe 12 should be the fire and 13 should be the focus, because 13 reduces to a 4, which is stability, focus. And then fire, 3, the catalyst to change, right? But then I'm like, but you can't do this before that. And then we have this Knight of Swords. How to focus? Knight of Swords. Right? The Knight of Swords. I love it. We open with swords and we're going to close with swords. So, how to focus? Knight of Swords. This is so much closer than my laptop. Let's see. Here's that masculine energy. So yeah, feminine energy is putting in work. So much water and earth in this reading. But it's like the feminine energy is helping work on the masculine energy, and the masculine energy at the same time is helping work on the feminine energy. The feminine energy may be taking on a lot of masculine influence though, because it has to work so hard to get this really imbalanced. It's like feminine energy is pulling like overtime, working doubles, late nights, just trying to get this to go in a direction that is more sustainable and profitable and beneficial for all. So the Knight of Swords is illustrated by Carolyn Kaplan. The Knight of Swords brings a message of fortitude and discernment when facing challenges. The Knight thinks everything through and considers what is just and right before acting. The Knight of Swords card is an extension of J. Kara Studios' lesbian/queer major arcana deck, depicting a strong feminine energy on a card, usually depicting a male figure. And I think she's the same person who illustrated the Emperor, because the Emperor is also a strong feminine energy on a typically male depicted card. And so shout out to the Emperor. This is his spread. I may check and see where he is after this, since he kind of sort of made an appearance. But yeah, look at her. She is a lady. She is a, look at that hat. Wait, am I looking at this right? Or is that the cloud? Oh, that's the cloud. It's a cloud behind him. Look at that high pony though. Yes, this work. Love her armor. This is interesting because it's like I feel like the horse is moving, but not really. I feel like the horse is idling. Like it may be about to move, but it's looking behind. And she's looking forward. Oh, this is... There's a very, like, subjugating energy here. And it's subjugating in a way that it's like you're doing something, but you're doing it wrong, and you're asking somebody for help, and they're like, do this. Don't do that. Do this. Stop doing that. Do this. Okay, just give it to me because you're not listening to me. I'm the expert here. You called me for help and you're doing this wrong. And if you keep doing this the way that you're doing it, somebody's going to get hurt. And so it's like someone snatching in. It's like, okay, I'm going to show you how to do this. Hopefully you can replicate this when I'm going. But that's how to focus it, right? And it's emphasis on there being a feminine energy in a role that is typically held by a male. I feel like dudes had a run of certain systems for a long time, and it's like they make a right fine mess of it every single time. It may be time for us to let the feminine energy come in and at least be a participant. My favorite card. This is my favorite card in the deck. I don't like the message, but it's two dudes chilling in their underwear. Like, hello? Just chilling, hanging out. Love that. This is how to fire, though. This is interesting. How to focus was the Knight of Swords. How to fire is this Four of Cups. There's just a few energies that I did not expect to be in the place that they're in. Take it as it resonates. Four of Cups, illustrated by Robin Scott. We all want to have someone we can rely on for support and let our guard down around. This is a relationship where you can enjoy comfortable silences, watch TV together, enjoy cookies and milk in your underwear, and simply relax in each other's presence without even interacting directly. You can relax, knowing that you are supported and loved by someone who has known you at both your best and your worst. There is still a richness of love here, but it's lost the sense of exciting newness it once had. When our relationships become too comfortable, they can also become suffocating and stale. Comfort and stability are essential to any healthy long term relationship, but if you get caught up in them, they can become the start of a long downward slope towards the end. Without risk and excitement, without romance, it's easy to fall into a rut that you never pull yourself out of. And that's how to fire, which is interesting. The Four of Cups is typically illustrated kind of sort of like this. It's someone like meditating, right? Someone with the eyes closed, with 3 cups. There's this kind of sort of a hint of dissatisfaction about it. They're closed-eyed, meditating, and then there's like a cloud or the universe presenting them a 4th cup, a brand new opportunity, right? And I feel like with the 3 and the 5 not so much, but with the 3 of Cups, that's like the celebration, that's like the honeymoon phase, right? With the 4 of Cups is like it's stabilized, and then with the 5 of Cups, it's like that stability is disrupted. And so, I mean, with the 4 of Cups being, with the description of the 4 of Cups here, it makes sense why the 5 of Cups is what the 5 of Cups is, right? With this long downward spiral of complacency, boredom, the loss of the romance, and then you break up, and then with the 5 of Cups, it's like now you're crying, right? But at the bottom of the deck again, I forgot, Temperance. Temperance is at the bottom of the deck. Oh, okay. So Temperance is at the bottom of the deck, and we have a lot of feminine energy in this space of masculine energy, right? So to get this to go where we want it to go, it's going to require an integration of both, right? Temperance is always the energy of integrating the fire and the water. It's the alchemy. It's adding this and this and that and a pinch of this to make something brand new. But it's also the energy of waiting. And it feels like there's this energy of concern. It's like, well, if everyone's happy, if everything is all lovey-dovey, then where's the drama? Like, you can't have life without drama. Life isn't life without a little bit of chaos. Life isn't life without struggle. It's like, there are still going to be ways that we progress, and there's still going to be things that we, work towards, and there's still going to be advancements, but, like, can we stop hating each other for a hot second? Like, do you really need somebody? Okay. I feel like this is directly calling into question that it seems like a lot of people's self-worth is based in what they have that other people don't have, or what they don't have that other people do have. And so there's this constant comparative need to feel better than someone else, to have more than someone else, to put someone beneath you so you can feel a sort of whatever within yourself. And I feel like if we put everyone on the same playing field, it directly calls that into question. And some people don't know how to operate. It's like the energy of like your parents telling you that you're beautiful, gorgeous, and amazing all of your life, and that you're the best, that you're fantastic. But then you get out in the real world and you find out you're not that special. And then you have this like little identity crisis, like, why would my parents tell me that I was all of this, only to find out that there are so many people out there who are so much better than I am. And it's not that they lied to you, but they didn't do you any favors by, I don't know. People just need to feel better than other people. But the Knight of Swords is how to focus, and the Four of Cups is how to fire. Honestly, I'm not quite sure what that Four of Cups how to fire is. Because Hey, it's the Three of Cups and then the Four of Cups. They're right next to each other. I didn't even notice that. There's a lot of cups and a lot of pentacles. I'm gonna try to wrap this up real quick. I'm gonna read that Knight of Swords. I'm gonna pull both of these up real quick. Because there, even though this is the Knight of Swords, which is one of the fastest knights in the deck, I feel like this is the only Knight of Swords I've seen depicted as pretty still. I feel like this Knight of Swords isn't really going anywhere, and then this is all about them sitting back, chilling, relaxing, shooting some b-ball outside the school. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at how this is all black and white. And I'm looking at the color, but this huge glass of maybe milk. Oh yeah, cookies and milk. This huge glass of milk right here. And I'm thinking about okay. So I think how to fire this to make sure we get where we're going is to proceed in a way, and this is maybe speaking outside of the financial systems, more just like human rights in general and loving and accepting other people as they are. And again, that could be people who don't identify as being a part of the LGBTQ plus community, but who still hide parts of themselves because they feel like they won't fit in, right? Maybe they're into country music and a family where country music just is not acceptable. Or like maybe your vocational aspirations, the career that you want, like maybe you want to be an artist and like everyone is telling you that that's unreasonable, and it's like you would get support from your parents if you pursued something more scientific, right? Like if you become a doctor or an engineer, then it's like, yeah, we'll support you in that, but if you want to pursue art, we're not paying for anything, right? So it could be anything. But I think it's going to be important, like, when we make these changes in the future, it's going to be important that we don't enter this space of assimilation, right? Because I'm seeing this glass of milk as compared to this rainbow, right? And that's going to be the excitement that we keep, right? We're not assimilating everything and making it bland. We're not bleaching the color out of everything. We're bringing all of the colors together and giving them their separate spaces where they can be seen as what they are, right? Because in light, if you have all of the lights together, they make the color white. In pigment, if you have all of the colors together, they make the color black. Because light, oh my gosh, how did that happen? This is not the vice versa deck. Hello? This is not the vice versa deck. I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. This was a little bit longer because honestly, I hit some moments where I was like, I was a little bit confused, but it makes sense because this is like kind of sort of heavy energy. These are very big, supposed to be very big idea sort of spreads. All right, I'm going to go make me some French toast. I'm going to catch y'all later. I might upload a short recap. And maybe not, but maybe I will. I don't know. All right, bye.